Is this Kawasaki 1700 Nomad more Road King than the Road King is? Cue the intro. Hey guys, I'm Sean from Srkcycles.com, and this is a 2014 Kawasaki Vulcan Nomad. This is the second generation of the Nomad, and this is on their 1700 series platform. They have 3 different bikes in this platform, and they compete with the 3 main Harley-Davidsons in the touring platform. All right, so to make it simple, forget the part about the fixed fairing part. You got the Ultra Classic, that's the same as the Voyager. You've got the Street Glide, which would be the same as the Vaquero. Probably a better connection would be the Road Glide because of the fixed front fairing. And then you have the Road King, which is my personal favorite. And then you have this beautiful gem, the Kawasaki Nomad. All right, guys, before we go too much farther, let's do the words of wisdom. Ecclesiastes 12:13. The conclusion, when all has been heard, is fear God and keep his commandments, because this applies to every person. That's a good conclusion. So even though this bike is 20 pounds heavier than my Road King, it feels lighter. You really kind of throw it around and flick it around, and I'm not really sure why, but it just feels lighter than my Road King. Makes you want to throw down some and drag some highway pegs. I like the color of these bikes. I think the styling is very cool. I think they only came in like 1 or 2 colors in this year, so if you see a bike that looks like this, it's probably a 2014. The 1700cc motor that Kawasaki made has been proven to be a very durable and long-lasting engine. I've seen them with a lot of miles on them. I never have any issues with them. Just put a battery in it, change oil every once in a while, and you're good to go. I also like how they put these wide, big old beach bars on them. It's a perfect. There's no reason to change your handlebars on this bike. I think it's just a perfect level. It's very comfortable, very relaxing, nice and wide. That's what we want as Americans. We like a big old wide bike. All the controls are right there within hand's reach, including the, what's that called? Cruise control, which we will try out on the highway. Surprisingly enough, this thing is actually heavier than the Road King by 19 pounds, which normally the imports are a little bit lighter because they say they use a lot of plastic stuff, but everything that's metal on this is also metal or plastic on the Road King. A couple similarities to this and the Road King. They both basically have 1700 or 103 cubic inch motors. The Road King's a 103, this is a 103.75 or something like that. They both have throttle by wire, they both have 6-speed gearboxes, they're both belt drive, and they both look awesome. Now this does have the heel toe shifter, but unlike the Harley-Davidsons where you can adjust each one individually, which makes a lot of sense, you cannot adjust this. You can adjust the whole thing, but you can't adjust each individually. It's all one big bracket. You also can't take off one piece without taking the whole thing off unless you want to cut it. I'm not sure why you'd want to do that, but some people just hate the idea of the toe beam. I mean, some people have giant feet. If you have a really huge foot, you might want to do that. Oh, I see now. I see now how these are adjustable, how the windshield's adjustable. You actually turn that bolt right there and this whole thing slides up. It looks like it has about maybe almost not quite 3 inches that it can adjust. So it's not really something you're going to adjust on the fly, like, you know, like a BMW or FJR 1300, where you can just, you know, change it while you're driving. But it's something that you can adjust it if you wanted to, if you were taller, or if you sat up higher than someone else did. Now this Nomad has all the cool things that you would ever want on a cruising long distance bike. It's got the cruise control. It's got a windshield that can go up and down, although I don't actually know how it goes up and down. I'm told it can go up and down. It's got this awesome blacked out motor and just really cool looking retro styling. You know, the type of styling like Hot Rod magazine that you would see like a pinup girl sitting on it. And you got that 6-speed gearbox. It does have a gear indicator right down here next to a clock. A 6-speed gearbox, and 6-speed is an overdrive to keep those RPMs down, the motor nice and quiet, and you can just kind of relax and kick back. Let's just try the cruise control. Set. Bam, cruise control. Now, when you're using cruise control, you don't want to just, it's not just for like taking your hand off. You can rest your hand on the handlebar, but you don't have to twist. You're not twisting, and you can rest your hand right there and just kind of let it keep a consistent speed. If you want to accelerate a little bit, keep it on cruise control. I'm pressing the little button over here, going a little bit faster. And then I'm gonna rest my hand back on the cruise, and it's just it's more relaxing. You know, eventually you do kind of feel a little bit of a strain of turning the thing. Not a huge deal, but when you're doing, you know, 500, 600, 1,000 miles a day, it makes a difference. It cruises great. It keeps up, maintains with a highway, no problem. If I want to pass all these clowns, I absolutely could by just twisting, not even downshifting, just twisting the throttle a little bit. I got great visibility in my mirrors. They're nice and wide. I can barely see any of my shoulders, but I can see everything behind me. Let's see what the horn sounds like. It's loud, but a little wimpy. And then if you want to take the cruise off, you can roll forward, you can grab a clutch, you grab anything. Anything that's going to do anything is going to turn the cruise off. Press that cruise button. Very comfortable bike for not very much money. And that's what I like about these Kawasaki's. It's not like you're getting a bike that doesn't look cool, that's reliable. Or it's not like you're getting a cool looking bike that's cheap, but it's not reliable. You kind of get everything, and it's great. You get a good looking bike, it is reliable, it does look cool, it's for less money than you would the American counterpart. What's there not to love? Now this bike is also equipped with Kawasaki's ABS system, and just like on all motorcycles, they are disengaged at lower speeds, such as for this motorcycle it's 4 miles an hour. So until you hit 5 miles an hour, the ABS light will flash on, and then once you hit that speed, it'll turn off. It's also equipped with the Kawasaki K-Act 2 system, which, if you don't know what that is, it connects both brakes to each other, but from using speed controls and brake pressure regulators and servos and stuff like that. What it allows you to do, if you're too heavy on the front brakes, to stop the vehicle from diving, it'll actually go through the ECU and apply the appropriate amount of pressure on the rear brake to keep the thing nice and level. If you're not using any front brake at all, and you're just all rear brake, it'll actually apply brake pressure to the front brakes to give you better stopping power. If you're using both brakes at the same time, which is what you should be doing in most cases, then it applies the proper amount of braking from the front and rear for the bike, for the situation. Now normally, I know it sounds like a lot of stuff going on. Now normally I'd be like, nah, I don't want that. I don't want to feel any different. I know how to ride. I've been riding bikes for a long time. I want to do it all myself because the bike does not know what situation I'm in. But the crazy thing about it is I started riding these things before I knew what that system did. And you don't notice it at all. A good, properly set up, you know, nanny or aid, not really a nanny, but a good, properly set up, you know, computer aid like that works in the background without you ever knowing it. It just makes you feel and look like a better rider, and that's exactly what this thing does. Now, don't let throttle by wire ever scare you, because chances are the car you're driving is throttle by wire. Most cars don't have wires controlling the throttle anymore, and you never really hear any issues with it. It's not like someone can hack in to your computer's ECU remotely and then, you know, up the throttle while you're trying to brake. Although that'd be a great, like, thing to do in a movie. And just like the Road Kings, I like the simplicity of what you see while you're riding. You got gauges over here, but you don't have buttons over here. You don't have a fairing covering all this. I like looking at this. This is what I'm here to see. If this was a fairing, you'd only see above, you know, this part of the windshield and then over. And I like seeing more of the road. The seating position is awesome. It's your classic, you know, cruiser touring bike where my legs are at, you know, at a 45 degree. I'm not reaching forward. I'm not leaning back. I'm just resting my hands where they would naturally flow, right here. And I'm just cruising and having a good time. All right, let's see what we can get 0 to 60 in. My goal is sub 5 seconds. There right now. And then of course it just keeps on pulling all the way up to highway speeds. All right guys, this bikes and tons of other bikes are for sale at Srkcycles.com. We ship them all over the country. And remember, it is not what you're riding, but where you're going. All right guys, just to let you know, this video has been brought to you by M1 Moto. M1 Moto is the company which I own that makes these motorcycle gloves. This is one of the only motorcycle glove that is lined, this whole palm is lined with Kevlar. We have tested this thing like crazy and it's come out amazingly tough. It is one of the only motorcycle gloves I wear other than this and the 507s. Check them out on bikesandbeardsgear.com or just click on the link below for Bikes and Beards gear for the gloves.